In this brief video, we're going to take a look at upgrading your project text in Storyline 360. So here's a typical template that we may have put together for a customer, and this may be what you're used to looking at in a typical design. And one of the things I want to draw your attention to is how text boxes and shapes function. And so if you were to put a placeholder in, like we've done here, with some lorem ipsum text just to let the end user know this is what this slide could look like, they would now take this template and then populate it with their own content. Now we've made a guesstimation of what a good amount of text would look like on this slide, but there could be other times where they're making some changes and they might have more text to add than we've accounted for. So when that happens in a standard text box like we're looking at now, there are a few ways that Storyline is already set up to treat that text. And based on whether you've inserted a text box, which is here, or a shape or a caption, those are the three common ways that people hold text typically in Storyline, then the text might be treated differently. And you can always adjust that by taking your text box, right-clicking, and then go to Format Shape and select Text Box. And here are the standard options that you'll see. Resizing shape to fit text is the default behavior of any text box that you might be looking at. Shrinking text on overflow is the default behavior of a caption, and do not auto fit, which would mean the text would spill out outside of the frame or the shape, is the default behavior of a shape. So that's what you're usually dealing with when you insert a text box, a shape, or a caption in Storyline. However, there is an option for you to consider, and you'll see that here, upgrading project text. You can also find it here under Design, under Fonts, and you'll see upgrading project text here. When you make this selection, Storyline will create a backup. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. And you'll see it's telling me a backup is being made. And it's also giving me a little bit of a visual of what's going to be happening to our text boxes and shapes in this project. So I'm going to hit Upgrade. It doesn't look like a lot has happened yet, but there are a few things that have happened. One, you'll notice these icons that are now in the corner of some of my text boxes. When I select them, you'll see they have little icons here. And each time you select one, there's a different icon. And those icons can be toggled through. But when you select one, things will happen that may alter what your text looks like. For example, if I select this icon here, it's now saying it's going to auto fit. When I select it again, it's now saying it's going to expand the height. So depending on what you've selected here, the behavior will change. So for example, if I choose auto fit, and now the user comes in and selects more content and decides I need to put more in here, they can hit enter and hit paste. And what you might have noticed is this text box has now been given a scrolling panel. So instead of reformatting the size of this or having the text spill out if it was a shape, it knows that I want to protect the integrity of the template, so it added a scroll bar. So as the user would view this as a content, if they were an end user taking the course, it would look like this. Modern scroll panel that they can scroll and view this text. And that was automatically done because we've chosen to upgrade our project text. Now, if I did the same thing I did earlier and right-click this text box and go to Format and look at the text box options, you'll notice that they are different. So I now have the ability to do things like set it to expand its width or expand its height, or keep it at a fixed size. And if you keep it at a fixed size, you'll see the option to allow text to add scroll bars or allow text to overflow. So this is a really neat way for you to upgrade your project text to make your content a little bit more modular if you're building something like this, like a template, so that it doesn't really matter what amount of text you put in these shapes, it will maintain that consistency of design. So that's upgrading your project text in Storyline.